Oh my god, it's finally happening. Nxworries are releasing their second studio album together titled Why Laud, and it's set to come out June 7th via Stone's Throw. What's up, y'all? I'm Devon here again. For obligatory, we do a weekly music news segment on this channel every Friday. Today is April 5th, 2024. And again, we just have so much to get to, so let's start with Nxworries and this new album that we've been waiting on for almost 8 years now. Thankfully, now we are here in the home stretch. Along with the announcement, we got 86 Centra, which is now the third official single released ahead of the new album. We also got Daydreaming and Where I Go featuring her in previous years. You may remember recently Anderson.Paak, kind of late in 2023, posted a track list for the album. And if you look closely enough, you can make out some of the song titles, including the singles that we know. Now, you can't read a lot of the songs that are on this list, but you can pick out a couple details, like there's 19 tracks listed. The runtime concludes at 45.5 minutes. But looking back at this thing, I don't think I see 86 Centra on it. It does mention performing at the Super Bowl, so that kind of dates this. And with that, I say to expect a mix of songs that could span all the way from pre-2020, like I said, all the way up until earlier this year. I mean, Knxwledge himself did say back in 2020 that they were hoping to finish up the album that year. So again, I think that material is going to be a strong mix of different songs that have come out throughout the years, but I think that timeless quality and unique quality of what they do is going to tie everything together very seamlessly. My main question remains though, are we going to be getting a remix edition of this album like we got for Yes Laud? So Yes Laud came out in 2016, then in 2017, we got a batch of remixes and a couple extra beats, and really just a slightly different look at an album that has already been so replayable, so fresh for so many years. And really my only hope is that this album could be as timeless and fresh and replayable as the last one has been. Now I leave it to y'all. I want to know, like, what are you hoping for in the next Nxworries album? What would make a great new 2024 album from them for you? Let me know down in the comment section. I'll be down there talking with you. But I also want to brief y'all on the new Vince Staples announcement, which there's a lot less to this one. He was on the Big Boy TV and radio show doing about an hour-long interview, and then sprinkled in there a couple times are just very small details about how Vince wants to release a new album very soon. Now, the clip that you might have already seen floating around the internet is Vince saying that he's going on tour in June in 6 weeks, and that his hope is to have a new album released ahead of that tour. As many of you already probably know, the Vince Staples show just debuted on Netflix earlier in the year. It's been well received, and I think it makes sense for him to follow that up with a new album. Now, the main question that I really have about this pertains to the last few albums we've gotten from Vince. I think in the post Big Fish Theory era, he's had some pretty intriguing music. Not everybody has loved it as much as I've been pretty interested in it. FM was a very short but very bombastic and lively project that moved in a lot of different directions very quickly. Then he followed that up with the Vince Staples self-titled album, and more recently Ramona Park Broke My Heart, which both have like a very melancholic, moody, sometimes anxious and anti-social feeling to them. I wonder if that's going to be something that he follows up with yet another album, or having spent a couple years in that space releasing these projects, that maybe he's looking to do something slightly different. Maybe there's a new fold into the themes of his projects moving forward. Vince has always been one to experiment a little bit, sometimes a little more aggressively than other projects, but I kind of expect that maybe we get a bit of a new era starting for him, but we will see, and we won't have to wait that long to see. Again, same question for y'all watching out there. What for you specifically would make a great Vince Staples 2024 album? From there, though, we want to make sure we mention the Brockhampton news that's been buzzing throughout the week. And I should also mention that this story comes directly to you from one of our contributors here, Obligatory Cam. You might have even seen some of his work on YouTube. If you haven't, definitely check out his channel. But for a while now, he's been one of our liaisons in the Brockhampton Discord server. This time, he's been linking us to the story surrounding how Brockhampton fans are basically sourcing out the final pieces of Puppy. And if you're not familiar with Puppy, it was supposed to be the 2018 post-saturation follow-up from the group, kind of as we originally knew them, like when Amir was still there. Obviously, there was a point where Amir had left the group. Things went into a stage of flux and chaos a little bit. They scrapped this album entirely and kind of built from the ground up Iridescence, which would then become their comeback album. And eventually the fabric of that group had eroded to the point where now they are essentially defunct and not a group anymore. Now, with that being the case, this Puppy material was really the last of stuff that fans hadn't yet sourced out, that they had been rabidly still waiting to hear. Fans were eventually able to piece together CD quality versions of all these songs in the order that, again, roughly should have amounted to what this album was supposed to be, at least the gist of it. I think there's different versions of songs and also just a unfinished album at that. The piece de la resistance, so to speak, here was Ready for War, a track that had been heard in bits and pieces but now has a full finished version and kind of helps conclude the entirety of the album. But also other tracks like Take Me Back, Breakfast in Bed, other versions of songs like 1998 Wildfire or Let's Get Married have come to the surface, and this is stuff that was bordering on urban legendary to some of their fans at some point. But it's happening, and Puppy is finally here. So if you want to listen to the whole thing, it's probably on YouTube, but also we have a download link down in the description. You can get the whole zip file from there. And I also wanted to mention that this did cause a slight controversy among the fans, among the community, as this has kind of overshadowed some of the recent solo releases that have been coming out from Brockhampton members, right? We have the new Matt Champion album, not to mention Don McLennan's new album, Changing of the Trees, which came out last week. Joba's been releasing new music, not to streaming, but has been putting out new songs, and this is easily kind of overshadowed a lot of that, I think, from the majority of their fans. And so we definitely want to shout out those albums because it does kind of suck that this is happening and taking away some attention, but I think this also speaks to the current state of the group. They're going to go through this solo phase, and I think the fan base is already kind of communicating how they feel about the music they've made as a group as opposed to the stuff that they're making now. So those are the news stories of the week. We also have to get to so much new music that dropped here this week. If you look on your screen, this is just the stuff that I wanted to highlight. This is not all the new music from this week. If you want to see the full slate of new releases, we post that on Obligatory's Instagram page. But with all the noise that's going on, and there really is a lot, I wanted to clue y'all into the new Pharrell Williams album that was posted this morning, not to streaming, but to a specific website. It's pretty on par for what we've been hearing from him of late, but it's like a full 10 songs. You can listen to the whole thing on the website or just download the entire thing. And again, with so much coming out this week and this getting announced this morning, I'm not sure how much people are going to flock to listen to it. So check that out. With that, of course, we also have to mention that J. Cole dropped new music. Now, it's officially titled as an EP. It's 12 songs, so I don't really get that. I'm going to call it a mixtape, but this is the Might Delete Later stuff that we've been hearing in recent leaks and snippets. He's posted a couple vlogs that contain a lot of the music that you're hearing in this EP. The last song on the album, I'm sure many of you have already heard, 7-Minute Drills, does contain a response to Kendrick Lamar and Kendrick Lamar's verse on the Metro Boomin album. Now, I'm all for the sport of hip-hop, so to speak, the spirit of competition that exists among rappers. I really don't think that Kendrick or J. Cole specifically have any bit of a problem with one another at all. I just think Kendrick is better at throwing punches with a little more venom, even if he don't got beef with you seriously. That's pretty much the story on J. Cole. Another album that I just have to make sure we know came out this week is the new RiTchie album, and that's RiTchie from the group By Storm, formerly known as Injury Reserve. During the periods in which him and Parker Corey are working on the debut By Storm album, there's been a huge push for them to be bold and push the envelope, just like their final Injury Reserve album ended up being. This new RiTchie album is a little bit more scaled back, a little bit more low-stakes song ideas for him to put out there. And I think this is great because I have kind of missed some of the more traditional hip-hop stuff that they used to do. And RiTchie, straight up, is just a really, really solid rapper with a lot of personality that I think makes for a great solo project. So far, I've listened to about half of the album, and I love it, and I expect to love the rest of the album, and maybe it'll be one of those Album of the Year candidates for me. And just one more look on the screen for stuff that either I or the obligatory team wanted to highlight to you as stuff worth checking out this week. I didn't even mention the new 2 singles from Charlie XCX or the new Kamasi Washington single featuring Andre 3000. The albums announced this week also pretty damn good, like not the most we've seen in any week, but definitely some very intriguing and solid ones. Of course, we open the show today with Nxworries, Why Law, June 7th. It also turns out Charlie XCX's new album, Brat, is coming out the same day. And we already knew there was a follow-up to Future and Metro Boomin's We Don't Trust You album, but we didn't have the title yet. And now we know it's We Still Don't Trust You that was announced yesterday, which gives a little bit more credence to the idea that this will be like a deluxe, maybe 12 or more new songs. And then another thing announced just this morning that I got my hands on, a new project from Gang Green. So Gangrene is the alchemist, and Ono. Ono is the West Coast rapper, also the brother of Madlib. This thing is going to be called Heads I Win, Tails You Lose, and it's coming out on the 19th. Just one more great thing to look forward to. We have heard so much great music in the past month. It does seem like things are scaling down a little bit from April to May, but again, with new album announcements coming, things could rev right back up at the start of summer. But that's all the news. That's all the new releases that we have to share with you this week. Clicking the like button is a great way to just help us out. It really does significantly help us out. And we will be back next week with another one of these news updates. So thanks for watching, and we will see y'all then, all right? Peace out. Thanks again.